Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present Good Luck Sleeping with your favorite spooky sisters, Rachel and Kayla.
The views and opinions expressed in our podcast by us or our guests do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors.
Use of any material by Paranormal Buzz Radio or Good Luck Sleeping without expressed written consent is strictly prohibited.
For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit their website at paranormalbuzzradio.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Twitter and Instagram.
Due to the nature of the content we discuss, listener discretion is advised and not recommended for those under 18.
We are back! Hi, spooky soulmates!
Hello, hello, hello. We always say that like we're shocked that we're back, but you know, this is what, we're like just episode 8 or something, and we still do that.
We're just amazed that people listen at all.
Seriously, like every time we check the numbers, which I try not to make it too often, but every time we check, we're like, what? That's us?
And when people join the group and say that they're like a spooky soulmate, that they, you know, feel like they're one of us, it just warms our hearts so much just to know that people really care and want to listen. It's awesome.
It really does. It makes it extra rewarding. Like we do this because we love to do it, but it's extra rewarding to know that you guys also love us doing it. So
say extra rewarding 5 times fast.
No, I could barely get it out that one time.
Every time you said that, I was like, man, that's a tongue twister that nobody's brought up before.
It
extra
really is.
Rewarding. Extra rewarding. Anyway. Hey, Kayla.
Hey, Rachel.
What do you call a fat pumpkin?
Kayla.
No.
Oh, sorry, what?
A plumpkin.
That's okay. I've never related to something more, though, honestly.
I thought that was the cutest joke. We were having trouble starting this episode out. We did it a few times. We said we're back every time, like it's a shock that we're back. And this is where we landed. And I wanted to say a silly joke. So there you go.
Well, it's hard, too, because this is like our second time recording over Zoom. And it's not ideal, but we're trying to make it work. So
there is a definite learning curve. My computer just shut down for no reason a little bit ago. Thankfully,
I'm just glad we weren't recording.
Yeah. Thankfully we weren't recording because just decided to restart. So sweet. So what have you been up to?
Oh, I was going to tell you. Well, I guess I'll tell everybody then. I had a weird thing happen last night. So I was asleep, and I know this because I woke up and I saw like a dude standing over me. And he didn't look like anybody that I've ever seen. Like, I do not know who this person was. But I obviously freaked out and went and, like, jumped backwards in my stupor. And I think I must have blinked. And when I opened my eyes, he was gone. And, like, I don't have a history of sleep paralysis. I was not paralyzed at the time. Like, I was able to move. It was like I woke up because it felt like somebody was standing this close, like a couple inches from my face. And when I opened my eyes, lo and behold, there was a dude standing there. And I'm just like, what? So I don't know what that was.
She sent a picture of what this person or thing looked like. And it sounded like something was about to sing. It was about to sing K-pop to her, I think.
Yeah, it kind of did. I was like, I don't think it was a sleep paralysis demon because he was hot.
Was he?
Yeah.
Was he?
Okay, what I sent you was like way younger. That was just the hairstyle. It was like silver hair.
Oh, okay.
But he was like around my age and like this close to my face, just like looking at me inquisitively. And I was just like, I freaked out because I wasn't expecting to see someone that close, but then I was kind of disappointed he was gone.
Oh, God. So what time did this happen?
I did not think to look at my phone. I was so freaked out, but it had to have been after midnight.
And were you able to fall asleep like quickly after it happened, or?
Yeah, because I didn't feel anything. Like normally if there's a presence, I can feel the presence and I can't sleep. That's what happened with the mirror. But this was like after I blinked, it was gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was enough to wake me up.
Sure. Yeah. That's crazy. And at least it wasn't, because you said it wasn't threatening. It was just
it was
startling because
it was like
you weren't
waking up to
expecting
Edward Cullen watching me sleep.
Ew.
I know, but he was like cuter. It was weird.
That's too funny. Well, I mean, I'm glad that it's not as scary as things have been in the past, and maybe you'll have more stories in that area for us in the future.
Agreed. So how are things with you?
Good. I reached a point in life where I just stopped caring, and it sounds like that's a negative thing, but it's because I stopped caring about the things that stress me out. So I feel very free and more light. And I used to be I'm the type of person that when I have my mind focused on something, whether it be work or something that's stressing me out, it's like all I can think about, and it consumes me, especially when it's work because it's so much of my day. So it just carries into my life until it's the weekend or I have like several days off in a row. Then I begin to like feel like myself anymore. But I just cannot live like that anymore. And I need to be able to put things away for the day when they're done. So I'm really pushing myself and striving to do that and just to enjoy the present. So anyway, it's going well. And what else? I mean,
I think it's finally time that you do that. Like Rachel is a very, I don't know if you'd say like anal personality, but like you stay focused and
obsessive.
You work. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You work super duper duper hard, and it gets to the point where you're just like, you can't make your mind take a break from your work, even though you need to take that break. So I was glad that you were able to do that today, because I think that's going to help you a lot.
Yeah, it's freeing, and I can just enjoy the things that are important, honestly. So yeah, but no, life is good. Just getting ready for cooler weather. It's what's the temperature right now in Georgia? Hot.
Hold on, let me pull up my What the Forecast and find out.
I have that same app. It's the best app ever.
It says you can be sure that Mother Nature is feeling pretty friggin' vanglorious about the weather tonight. 76 degrees, ladies and gents. Georgia is on its way down.
Mine says, fun fact, Greek yogurt tastes like feet.
I can concur. It's pretty bad.
Anyway, it's really freaking hot, but at least we're out of the 90s. So in my head, like fall's coming, I guess.
But there's always like that one last week at the end of September where it's like blazes hot. And you're like, oh my God, did I enter hell or something? And then it's over. Like it's like the weather is like, I'm leaving, and then stops. And another thing.
Yeah, it's fake fall. We get fake falls,
yeah,
which is just so irritating, but... Anyway, so let's start out with, where can people find us? You're the best at this part.
Well, you're the best at starting the episode, so it's only fair that I do this part. So if you want to be a spooky soulmate, part of our community, I suggest you head over to the Good Luck Sleeping Podcast group on Facebook. That's where everybody hangs out. We show evidence from our episodes. We do polls. We do all sorts of announcements, lots of fun conversations too, and discussions. So head over there. We're on Instagram at Good Luck Sleeping Podcast as well. And we put funny videos, graphics, creepy 2-sentence horror stories on there. They're a lot of fun as well. Our TikTok. You want to follow us on TikTok because we're finally getting into the groove with that. And Rachel has some of the best ideas I've seen on there. So that's
not true. That's not true. Yours are pretty great, but we're having a lot of fun with it.
Well, I think we both do a good job, but we have some funny ones.
I think we're made for TikTok.
We really are. We're not the typical people that you would see on TikTok. Like we're just kind of like the millennials that aren't supposed to be on there, but I think we rock it. So go check us out. It's at Good Luck Sleeping Podcast on TikTok as well. And then if you want to listen to the show, you can find us Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. on Spreaker.com. You can just search for us on there. Or you can listen to us probably the next morning on Apple or Spotify. Just search for Good Luck Sleeping Podcast. And if you have your own spooky experience and you want to hear it on the show, just send it in an email to us at goodlucksleepingpodcast@gmail.com.
Indeed. So tonight's episode is a listener stories episode. And as usual, we don't listen to these or read these before we read them out loud on air. So we're experiencing them for the first time, just like you guys. All right. So I'm going to start us out here. This story is from Sarah Bella. And she writes, "Hey, spooky soulmates. I am new to the podcast, but I already love it. And oh my gosh, I have so many stories for you two. Long story short, I am a weirdo. I always have been, I suppose, sensitive to spirits and things. I never really even realized it until I was about 15 or 16 and started talking to my mom, who is also sensitive to it. My father is as well. Oh, geez. He is actually from a Native American tribe, and I know that my great-grandmother was a priestess of sorts."
Ooh.
Anywho, yeah, I digress. I have several stories from myself and my family members, which I am happy to share. One of my earlier and more terrifying experiences was when I was 10. We were living in this really old house, and I'm talking like built in the early 1900s, and I knew something was off with the house immediately. My room was downstairs, and my parents' and brother's room was upstairs. I would always go to sleep before them because the sounds that I would hear after they went upstairs for the night terrified me. I would often see orbs in the corners of the hallway to the front door. I would see apparitions in the living room specifically. I would hear people... Yeah. I would hear people in the kitchen when everyone was in bed. The basement stairs would creak, like someone was slowly walking up them. I refused to go down there the entire time we lived there. My cat wouldn't even walk past the door. Anyway, one winter, my brother and I caught colds, nothing major, and we were actually starting to feel better. But because of that, my dad slept in his room, and my mom had me sleep with her in their room. I had a nightmare that night that some old lady with a very specific blue, older prairie-type dress came in and started to strangle my little brother.
Jeez.
I woke up about to scream, and in the hall, I could see the shadow of a woman with her hair in a bun holding a butcher's knife.
What the hell?
Okay, you could have woken up to that. Be thankful.
Right?
Good night.
I'll take the hot guy with the silver hair.
I started to scream, blood-curdling scream, babbling incessantly to my parents that this woman was going to hurt my little brother. He, too, was awake, but wasn't making much noise aside for the wheezing noises because he was having a severe asthmatic episode. He looked absolutely petrified. My parents rushed him to the ER where they said his airways must have just been irritated due to the cold. They gave him the treatments, got him fixed up, and we go home, all is well. My parents thought for a while that I must have just heard him wheezing. Everyone jokes that I have bionic hearing, and my brain just went haywire with it. Until my brother told me later on that same night that he woke up and saw the same exact old lady. Shadow of an old lady, pioneer days type dress, her hair in a bun, holding up a butcher's knife. He said her shadow got close to his doorway, and once it basically crossed the threshold into his room, he suddenly felt like all the air was whooshed out of him and he couldn't breathe. Then a moment later, he heard my scream, and he was terrified that the butcher knife that she had in her hand was for me or my mom. Keep in mind, I was 10 at the time, and he was 7. And that is the first time I experienced a truly terrifying and probably serious malevolent entity.
7 years old?
I know. That was the brother. She was 10.
God.
Yeah. Wow, that was way longer than I expected. Later, I'll have to write you guys about my experience with Robert the Doll.
Oh, dun dun dun.
That was a trip to Key West that my family and I will never forget. Later, soul sisters, and good luck sleeping.
Oh, I love that people use our little catchphrase.
Oh, that was a good scary story, but I'm sorry that you experienced it.
Yeah, seriously. That's rough.
Goodness.
All right. So this story is from Mark, and he says, "Hi girls, I found your podcast a month ago and have been listening to season 1 on my daily commute. I really enjoy it. Anyway, I have a few stories of paranormal things that have happened to me at my parents' house while growing up there in the 80s and early 90s with my 2 brothers. The house was built in the early 1980s, and we are the first family to live there. No one has ever died in the house. So it's just a normal, everyday home. However, the house has creaked a lot since it was built. My mom says it's just the house settling. If that's true, that house has been settling for 40 years now." My first story begins when my younger brother was in 3rd grade. He was learning his times tables and had the idea that he would tape record himself reading the times tables and then play them back as he went to sleep and hopefully learn them subconsciously through some sort of osmosis.
Now, that is smart.
I feel like I saw that in a movie. Was that in like Ferris Bueller's Day Off or something like that? That's cute.
I mean, I don't know, but I think I have, yeah, it's been in a movie. I'm not sure what, but I mean, damn, that's smart.
I know it. He had recorded them and was playing the tape back to listen when his voice on the tape cut out and this evil, deep voice took its place. It sounded what I assume a demon would sound like, and was speaking in some strange language. After several seconds of speaking, the voice disappeared, and my brother's voice reading his times tables came back on. My brother was mad and accused me and my other brother of messing with his tape. We did no such thing. We wouldn't even know how to produce a voice like that. We urged him to keep it, though, as we thought it just sounded cool and was just a mess up of the tape when he recorded it. However, when we re-recorded his tables, the voice was gone. So it wasn't an error on the tape medium itself, and have never heard that voice again. Why did y'all record over it? I want details. Like, I want to hear
I know.
this.
I would be like, send it in. Let's listen.
All right. Okay, my second incident happens one evening as I was standing at my bedroom window watching airplanes lining up to land at the airport in the distance. There was one light that seemed out of place in the lineup of planes, and as I watched, this light started getting brighter. I realized it was coming toward me. It glided silently over a forest and over the houses across the street. It came to a stop halfway across the street directly in front of my window, 20 feet off the ground. There was nothing to it but a light, no ship or anything. It was maybe basketball sized, and after several seconds, as I watched the light, it just started going up the street, following the road, having turned 90 degrees but never making a sound. I called to my brother who was in the other room and told him to look at it. By this time, it was far up the street, but still very visible. He just said, "Yeah, that's weird," and went back to whatever he was doing. I would just chalk it up to ball lightning or something, but this came directly to me and then followed the road. Definitely controlled somehow. If it happened today, I would chalk it up to a high-tech drone, but this was late 80s and they didn't even exist back then. Why didn't you follow it? It sounds like it wanted you to follow it.
I would have.
All right. And then my final incident happened one day when it was me and my older brother alone. I'm not sure where everyone else was at this time, but they were not at home. I was in the family room watching TV and my brother was getting ready to go to work. He said bye and left. I continued watching TV. And a minute or two later, I heard footsteps on the linoleum in the hallway leading to the front door. I said, "Did you forget something?" thinking my brother had come back for something. There was no answer. I got up and walked over to the hallway. It was empty. The front door was locked. I opened it and looked outside. His car was gone, and there was no way he could have come inside, left, gotten back in the car, and taken off again. I checked the entire house, and there was nobody there. Those are my paranormal experiences from my parents' house. I haven't lived there in 20 years, but I know the house is still settling. Who knows if I'll have any other experiences next time I visit. Keep up the spooky podcast.
Aw, thank you, Mark.
That's awesome. That's just
was
like a
interesting.
mother to be like, "It's just the house selling. Go to sleep."
No, it's the pipes. Okay. I'm going to read a quick one. This is from Mary. I love your podcast. I've experienced several paranormal experiences in my lifetime, one which still haunts me today. I am a teacher and used to teach in a 100-year-old building. I was on the 3rd floor. I brought my children with me, and my daughter was 4 and my son was 2 at that time. It was a hot summer day, and since the building was so old, there was no AC to cool us down. I opened my windows, and I was hanging posters while my children played. All of a sudden, I hear a whisper, "Turn around." I did, and my son was climbing on a chair toward an open window.
What?
I ran to my son, grabbed him, and placed him on the floor. I then proceeded to shut all of the windows. I quickly finished my work in 30 minutes and got home. I told my husband that evening about what had happened. Before I tell you how he responded, I want to let you know that my husband found your podcast and introduced it to me. So his response is unusual. He did not believe me in hearing the voice. I am grateful for the guardian angel that was looking out for my son. He is now 19, and I don't know what I would do without him.
So you're telling me that he listens to us and he didn't believe that there was a voice.
Right?
Shame. For shame.
Shame. Shame.
Get your priorities straight. God.
Well, hopefully, he's come around
Yeah.
since you've told the story multiple
It's out
times
there
by
now.
I'm sure. Sorry, I do. Husband. All right, this one was sent on our Instagram by Zoe. Well, I have several experiences within all the houses that I've lived in. However, for some of them, I might not remember all of the details of them, that being that they have happened a while ago. Also, not to mention, my birth mom and I are witches and sensitives.
Oh.
My first experience I remember was when I was young, about 4 or 5, I would say, and I always saw this man sitting on a sofa in our den. He wore glasses, a plaid shirt, short curly hair, and had a big mustache. I always saw him reading a newspaper or watching TV with us. One day, I had asked my mom who the man was, and her face lit up, and she told me that it was my grandpa that had passed away when my eldest sister was 3.
Oh.
I have never seen a picture of him before, nor have I met him since I was yet to be born, so I thought it was kind of cool to see him in his ghost form. Although, since I moved, I have no idea where he's at now. My second experience that I recall was when I went to my friend's house to hang out, and I was around the age 6. So I was still very open-minded at the time, and I remember that I had went to go use the restroom, and when I went in there, I saw this elderly man just floating there, staring down at me while I was doing my business. And then there have been several experiences at the current house I live in now. When we first moved in, we started unpacking our stuff and putting it up. We have this little built-in bookshelf in the living room that you need a step stool to be able to reach it, and after we put the books up, we went to get more stuff. We came back and all of those books were completely just knocked over. In our house, we have a door that leads to our garage, and it has both a deadbolt lock and a handle one. But for some reason, we couldn't figure out why my stepmom kept getting locked in the garage, even though none of us were guilty of doing it. My parents have this jacuzzi tub in their bathroom, and it has this little thermometer device that turns on whenever the water is filled. And every night, the thermometer will read cold temperatures as if there were water in it, even though there'd be none. And the TV above the tub, ooh, you fancy, would turn on as well and just show a flashy white screen. There's been another time I believe my brother accidentally brought a bad spirit home because the whole house felt very dark and heavy, and it gave my dad and I headaches. Oh. During the night, my baby brother was sleeping, and he just started crying because the spirit was messing with him. And then it went to my parents' room and started pacing back and forth, and my parents just sat silent watching it. After that, my dad came to check on my stepbrother and I, but before he reached my stepbrother's room, a large bang and ruffling noises flooded from his room and scared all of us. I started praying in hopes that it would go away, and it surely did. Oh, and I also have some from when I visited my mom in Tennessee. We went to her boyfriend's house to hang out, and I accidentally fell asleep on the couch, and I got awoken to someone breathing on me even though I was alone. And whenever we went into the basement, you can hear a woman talking on the phone. Now that I think about it, at my grandma's house, I had spent the night one time, and I never spent the night there again. I couldn't sleep at all because I weirdly heard an organ playing, even though she didn't own one. And
rude.
Footsteps all grandmas should have an organ. And footsteps all around me, and evil laughter coming from the foot of my bed. In conclusion to that, I just put my blanket over my head and tried to wave it all off.
We've all been there.
Yes, we have. Also, in that building, I was taking a shower, and then suddenly the water just shut off on me. And my mom's keys would always go missing, and then she'd find them in the random places, like the bathroom or the vacuum. Oh, wait. I thought she found keys in the vacuum. I'm like, damn, that is random. Or the vacuum would go off randomly. Crazy. I'm sorry for all these paragraphs. I just love talking about this stuff because it interests me, and I'm pretty much going to be surrounded by ghosts my entire life. I have some other things to share too, but I guess I'll save it for another day since I bombarded you guys with all of these. We love
being bombarded.
Yes. I love your podcast, by the way. I listen to it all the time while I was working to keep me busy, and I find you guys to be pretty cool. Oh, thank you. It always makes my day better. Thank you so much, Zoe.
That's so sweet. We love you too, Zoe.
Send in all of the stories.
Please, yes. Oh my God. My skulls are jangling.
Hate when my skulls jangle. Hate when my skulls jangle.
For those who don't know, I have little like porcelain skulls on my podcasting table, and my table's also uneven, so it like rocks back and forth. It's super janky, but that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so our next story is from Hillary Kelly. She says, "Hi guys, I'm Hillary Kelly. I recently ran across your podcast and instantly became a fan, so of course I had to join the Facebook group. Good on you. Good choice.
Good on ya." That sounds Australian. Good on ya, mate.
It's like just normal American and then mate at the end.
Good on you, mate. I'm sorry, I can't do accents.
It's okay. I just sent y'all a couple of my personal experiences that I've had at work. Okay, we did not get that. So if you have it in like your outbox, can you just make sure that you send it to the right email, because we definitely want to hear those. But apparently this is her scariest one to date, and it happened to her family and her roughly 4 to 5 years ago. So
it's a long one too. Take a breath.
Well,
you ready?
I told you, like, I feel like I've got so much spit in my mouth, and I don't know. So
we like long stories. I should clarify.
I'm just drooling over y'all's stories tonight.
We prefer longer stories than short. I mean, we like all the stories, but it's nice to have like a good chunk to read. So I'm excited to like get into the story.
Yes,
but,
feel free to send like all of your experiences at once. If nothing else, we can split it up. But if y'all are down for writing it out, please send them all to us.
So what happens when we have these listener stories episodes is either we get dry mouth, where it's like hard to get any words out at all and it feels like moths are flying out of our mouths. Yes. Or we get like
drool.
I was going to say wet mouth. It just grossed me out. So Kayla has wet mouth right now where she's having trouble with too much saliva.
Well, and then there's also the podcast burps that people get where they're like talking so fast that they're swallowing air and then they're like halfway through.
That's never happened to me.
Well, you know what? We can't all be perfect, Rachel.
I've never noticed you do it either.
I did it really bad when I was pregnant with Oliver. I would have to stop and like burp off to the side. Anyway, it's a thing. I swear. It's not just me. It's all podcasters. Except Rachel. Sure. Apparently she's perfect.
All right. Yeah, whatever. I'm sure it's normal.
Back to Hillary's story. Okay. A little backstory on myself and my family. My wife and I have been together for 7 years and married for 3.5. She has always been extremely sensitive to spirits and can actually see and physically feel them at times. She's had her fair share of peaceful and scary moments with this gift. See, there's a burp. Hold on. Now I'm self-conscious about it, Rachel.
Yeah, I can relate. I mean, I hate those. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
We could sit down and tell you hours worth of experiences she and I have had. When she and I started talking as friends, I was going through a nasty divorce from my son's donor, as we refer to him.
Oh.
Prior to that, he had done some things that I feel opened a doorway into our home, which directly affected my son and myself. I would wake up in the middle of the night to my covers being ripped off me or my bed shaking, normally around 2 to 3 a.m., of course. My wife was a welder at the time and would be going to work around that time, and there were 2 instances when she called me in the middle of those attacks because she felt like something was wrong and I needed her. We were not living together at the time, and we lived roughly 45 minutes from each other, so there was absolutely no way for her to know what was happening. As the time went on, I moved in with her, and whatever was attached to my son and I followed us. The attacks got more personal, and it was really directed more towards my son as it got worse. About a year into us being together, we moved to a different house thinking that would help. It, in fact, did not. Not laughing at what's happening, but I've been there. I've been through this, so I understand.
It just doesn't always go the way that you want it to, especially in these kinds of situations.
At first, things were good. We thought we had left it behind. However, slowly but surely, the attacks started back up. At first, it was just minor things like hearing heavy boot steps in our hallway, voices, and singing here and there. One night, my son woke us up screaming and crying, so my wife went to check on him, and he said he had seen eyes in his closet.
Ooh.
That's like every kid's worst nightmare.
I know. It's literally the thing that you make your parents check for.
Right? There's a monster in my closet. She checked, and there was nothing in the closet that would even remotely resemble eyes. And by this point, we had lived in this house for 2 years. We actually set up a voice recorder in my son's room soon after that and left the house with it on. And we were absolutely shocked and terrified of what we caught on the recorder. I need this recording. Please send it in.
Yeah. We can post it with the episode evidence. Yeah, for this. Whenever it gets released. Yeah. In November, I think.
I'll hit you up, girl. I'll email you. Okay. At one point in the recording, we heard what sounded like a small group of little girls singing Ring Around the Rosie. Oh, God, no.
Ugh, of all songs. Let's sing the plague song.
Right? Please keep in mind, we only have one son, no daughter. Our neighbors were not close by as we lived in the country, and we left the house completely empty with all electronics unplugged to ensure there was no interference. As they were singing, one of the girls harshly whispered, "Shh, he's coming."
Ew.
Immediately followed by this loud, terrifying, gut-wrenching, otherworldly growling/talking. We stopped listening to the recording at that point and began praying over each room in our home. A few nights later, my son said that he saw Jesus standing in his doorway and knew that he was there to protect him from the scary eyes, so we shouldn't be worried anymore. My son was around 5 years old at this point. I talked to my best friend about this because I was completely terrified for my son and my family at this point. I knew in my heart that thing had followed us and wasn't going to give up until it got whatever it was after. She was married.
Burping.
Yep, you know it.
Straight up burping. You know how I do.
She was married at the time to a man whose granddad was a shaman, and he had passed down his rituals to him. He agreed to come check out the house and cleanse it for us to protect my son. The night they came over will forever be etched into my memory, and I am just so thankful that my son has no recollection of it. It's about to get spooky.
Yeah.
When they came over, he began mixing his herbs and oils, and he explained the process to us. We had to anoint our heads with the mixture in the form of a cross before he began. Afterwards, he read some scripture and asked us to completely shut our minds out from the things that had been happening so that it couldn't attach itself to us. We also had to stay in one room together, holding hands, throughout the entire process. He started at the farthest room of the house and anointed, blessed, and cleansed each room. Once he was finished, he told us that he had removed it from the house, but he had to do the same outside in a circle to purify the grounds. We were strictly instructed to remain inside until he was finished. He is the only one that walked out that front door. We watched him through the front windows start his ritual, and soon he disappeared into the darkness. It felt like forever that he was gone, and we all began to worry about him, but my best friend was insistent that we stay inside. Soon after, he came running up onto the porch. This man was about 450 pounds and about 6'3". When we walked outside to see him, he was paper white. All of the color had been drained from his face. He was drenched in sweat and still pouring sweat profusely.
Like, what happened?
He lit a cigarette. I can just see this man like, I need a smoke. He lit a cigarette, told us it was gone, and told my best friend it was time to leave. Of course, I wanted to know what was wrong with him, but he refused to talk about it. All he said was, "It's gone," and walked away. A few days later, my best friend told me what he wouldn't tell us.
Oh, good. Oh, my God. I'm so like...
I know. I was like, are you serious?
Okay. Read.
As he was completing the circle, he was at the back of our yard. There was a field behind our house. He was out there just about to complete the circle of safety when he looked out and noticed this huge...
blacker than the night figure.
Mm-hmm. Are you reading along with me?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He noticed this huge blacker than the night figure standing there. I'm like, you're going to read the spoilers.
I was trying to help.
This huge blacker than the night figure standing there. No face, no nothing. Just this huge cloaked figure standing there, facing him. He said that he immediately felt nauseated and dizzy, but he had to finish. As soon as he completed the circle, that thing was suddenly right in front of his face in the blink of an eye. He still couldn't see a face, but he said it smelled of pure rotting flesh. Death,
Ooh.
rot, and just putrid. He stood his ground as he finished, and just as quickly as it appeared, it vanished. That's when he came back to the house and left. He didn't tell us because he didn't want to scare us, and he had nightmares for months after that night. Sometimes even wet the bed.
Oh,
Jeez. I honestly wouldn't believe that if I... I switched places with you tonight. I honestly wouldn't believe that if I wouldn't have experienced it with my own two eyes. I still read it wrong.
You put the emphasis on the wrong syllables,
okay, it's
Kyla.
Like tiny. I can't see. Okay. I honestly wouldn't believe that. Why can't I say that? Okay.
I'll talk like Kayla. It's me. It's Kayla. Do you want me to be you?
Do I sound like that?
No, you have like a higher voice than me, so I'm trying to like make it higher.
I
honestly wouldn't believe that. Okay.
You did it wrong too.
Well, because you were gonna start. I honestly wouldn't believe that if I.
I told you.
Damn, I couldn't do it either.
I honestly wouldn't believe that if I wouldn't have experienced it with my own two eyes.
Woohoo!
I still get the creeps just thinking about it, but I am so thankful that he got it out and away from my baby. If you'd like to talk about this on the podcast, I would be thrilled. If there's any other questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. My question is, where's the rest of the stories? That was insane.
You're a really good writer, Hillary, and again, send in those stories that we somehow missed. Did they get sent to our spam or something?
I checked. I think she had an issue sending it the first time, so maybe she thought that it had sent. I don't know. I'll reach out to you, Hillary.
Yeah, we need to hear those other ones. All right. This is from Brenda Lee, and it says, "Hey, Spooky Sisters. My name is Brenda Lee, and I just wanted to start off by saying that I love your podcast." Thank you.
Thanks.
I just started to get into podcasts this year, and your guys' podcast was one of the first ones I listened to. Now I'm hooked. Now let me get into this, LOL. Let me start by saying that this is the only quote-unquote paranormal experience that I've had that I can think of, and thankfully my little brother was there too. I'm currently 22 years old, and this happened to me when I was in the 7th grade, I believe. One night, I was in my guest bedroom, laying down in the dark. My little brother was in the living room, and my parents were in their room sound asleep. As I'm laying in bed, I see the hallway light at the bottom of my door. I start to see a shadow pass by slowly and then stop. I thought it was my cat just passing by, but then it started to bang on my door furiously. Oh my God.
No.
It wasn't like a bang then silence. It was pounding at my door. God, that's terrifying. I jumped up and the banging stopped. The shadow at the bottom of the door slowly walked away. I waited a little because I was literally shitting my pants.
We would too.
Yeah, I opened the door and no one or no pet was there. I ran to my brother thinking that he was messing with me, but he started to freak out when I started to tell him what happened, and he seemed genuinely scared as well. I was so nervous to go back to the room that I made him come with me. I would have done the same thing. Something was off, but I don't know what it was. That night we slept in the living room. My little brother and I never spoke about it until this year, and I knew I wasn't crazy. He told me his side of the story and how he heard the banging as well when he was in the living room.
Oh, snap.
I honestly don't know what that was, but it was scary as hell. Thanks for listening.
That was a good story.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Dang, that's terrifying. I mean, so I used to sleep with the door shut too, and I can picture the little sliver of light at the bottom of the door in the dark. You know, like you're in the dark completely and you see the little sliver. And I remember like seeing shadows go back and forth, and I knew that it was my parents walking by. But what if it wasn't my parents walking
Right?
by? What if it was something scary, you know?
I'm sorry, but if anything starts banging on your door in the middle of the night, nope. I'm jumping out the window. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done here.
Well, thank you for sharing regardless.
All right. So we have a couple entries from, and we're going to at least do this first one. So it says, hello, I've been meaning to send these forever now, and I figured I could start off with a few. Though they aren't long stories, I do have plenty. Probably don't use my name. All right. She says we can get creative with her name. So
Let's call her Bella.
I feel like, where you been, Loca?
Did you see that a girl got that tattooed on her?
No. Is that the
And,
generation we're in?
Yes. And she showed all of her friends and nobody knew what she'd gotten tattooed on her. And she didn't even show like us until the end, but it's just everybody's freaking out reaction saying, you have that on you forever now. So, okay.
Okay, so we can't do Bella. Too many Twilight vibes. What about Minerva?
Sure. That just rolls off the tongue. Let's go with it.
All right, this story is redacted name Minerva.
Minerva it is.
Minerva, like Minerva McGonagall from Harry Potter. We're just shifting.
All right, Minerva.
We're shifting fictional worlds.
We're shitting fictional worlds here, guys.
What would you prefer?
Minerva, I'm loving it. It's flowy.
Hello, I've been meaning to send these forever now, and I figured I could start off with a few. Though they aren't long stories, I have plenty. She wanted us to get creative with her name, so Minerva it is. So this one is titled, The Time I Think I Saved a Girl's Life. So first is a time I probably helped prevent a girl getting kidnapped. Okay, so this is like true crime.
All right.
Spooker.
And it sounds like it's got a happy ending. Well, it prevented a kidnapping, right? That's a happy ending.
I saw a dick when you said that.
Oh, I was like, what? Anyway, it has a peaceful ending.
Yes. Peaceful.
Okay, read about Minerva. Go ahead.
Okay, so first is the time I probably helped prevent a girl getting kidnapped. When I was about 5 to 6 years old, we lived in Nevada. We were living in what I thought was a way better neighborhood due to our last house. Someone was murdered on our porch. She said that's another to share. Please do.
I'm surprised you didn't lead with that one, Minerva.
Anyway, I remember when walking to school, there was this guy down the street who gave me the complete heebie-jeebies. So bad that I wouldn't even walk on the same side of his house. I literally had dreams this guy would kidnap me all the time. He drove this cheesy hot rod car that was loud. I remember one day playing with my friend outside. She had to go back to her house to get some more sidewalk chalk. I was just doing my thing drawing when I heard his creepy car. To say I was scared is an understatement because as soon as I saw him turn down my road, I was shaking. As he drove past, I saw something I knew wasn't right. There was a little girl in the backseat of his car and he had his hand over her mouth. The way he looked at me and pointed, I'll never forget. I literally got up from where I was sitting and ran to the closest house, which was this young couple who was like the neighborhood adopted parents since she wasn't able to have kids. Anyway, I ran so fast to their home to tell them what I saw. She asked if I was sure, and the way I was crying and shaking. her husband decided to call the police. I found out that a little girl did go missing from a close by park, and they arrested that guy.
Lord.
Now, I didn't live there much longer after that, but I know the guy no longer lived there the last bit of time I did live there. Wow.
That's terrifying.
I always picture like what I would do in those situations, you know?
Yeah. I mean, because there's, what is it, the mob mentality? Like, if you think that somebody else will have seen that and will react to it, you're less likely to take action.
Report it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that everybody has that mindset. So a lot of times nobody steps in. So good job for doing something.
And I suck because like I see the missing posters and I forget as soon as I look away, like what these kids look like. So then if I were to see them in real life, I probably wouldn't think of it, or I'd be like, oh, where have I seen that person? And just, it would drive me crazy.
Right.
So I'm no help. I'm no help at all.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that she was able to help her, allegedly.
Good job stepping up. Good job doing the right thing.
Okay. So she has another story. She said, my sleep paralysis experiences. So I never dealt with sleep paralysis until the current home I live in. I remember the first time it happened, I felt pressure on my chest and I couldn't move and I felt like I was being choked. I was extremely terrified and was trying to call out, but I couldn't make a sound. I made the mistake of opening my eyes. In the far corner of my room, I saw these red eyes just staring at me. As I started getting closer, I just started to scream Jesus' name in my head. Then it stopped. Had no freaking clue, so I went down the rabbit hole to read about others who had experienced what I did. The next time it happened, I had switched rooms. I made the mistake of putting my bed on the side of the room that has full-length mirror closet doors.
Does that sound familiar, Kayla? Does that sound like
familiar.
something that you've experienced before, too?
Yes, and I sleep on that side and I hate it. But I feel better now because it's gone. But anyway, I don't know what the heck I was thinking, she says. I had been pretty exhausted that evening and I fell asleep with my bedroom light on. I remember hearing my bedroom door open. It woke me up just a tiny bit, but I didn't see anyone come in. I close my eyes and as soon as I do, I feel weight on the opposite side of my bed. At this point, with my eyes still closed, I know something is there. Before I can even open my eyes, I feel its breath down my neck and I get the worst scratch ever across my neck. I don't even open my eyes. I scream to Jesus and then open my eyes and nothing is there. I did have 3 pretty deep I just gave my cat a bath scratches across my neck as if it was trying to choke me. I didn't sleep in my room that night. The next day I moved my bed.
Yeah.
Probably a good choice.
Yeah.
All right. She said that's a couple of hers and hopefully they don't super suck, but she has so much crazy stuff happen in her life and would love to share.
Definitely did
Please
not suck.
continue sending them on.
Yes. Fantastic. All right. Thanks for sharing, Minerva. And we can't wait to read your other ones. All right. So I thought we'd end the podcast doing a fun little get to know you kind of a thing, spooky related, since it's that time of year for us, at least. It'll be after spooky season when you guys listen to it. But is spooky season ever really over?
No. Nay, sir.
So since it's our quote unquote official launch, I know we did have a sneaky episode in there in the beginning, but
It was just because we love y'all.
Yeah, so it's a way for us to celebrate since today is officially our launch of season 2. So, Kayla, I want to ask you a few this or that questions. Okay?
Okie doke.
I know this one already, but I'm going to ask it so you can tell everybody else. Pumpkin spice or apple cider?
Oh, apple cider for sure.
Okay. Have you ever had the caramel apple cider from Starbucks?
No, but I've had caramel apple vodka. Does that count?
Yeah, it's really good, isn't it?
It's so good.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Okay.
What about you?
Mix that in with whipped vodka and throw it in some club soda or something. That'd be a nice little treat. Pumpkin spice.
Really? I'm not a basic white girl. I don't like the taste of pumpkin spice.
So every year in the fall, Keurig comes out with the pumpkin spice pods, and you can only get them, obviously, in the fall. I try to stock up for like a year-round, access.
Yeah, gotta have a back pile.
Right. I end up using them like into the winter, and then I'm done, so...
I want to get rich enough to where I can do that with Bath & Body Works fall candles.
I never burn through a full candle, really.
I just can't even afford one candle.
Yes, you can.
I mean, could, yes, but I prefer to put my money elsewhere usually. I need to find the sales. Anyway, I'm totally derailing this. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, please derail because I really have no plan. Okay, what is your favorite Halloween movie of all time?
Oh, God. Okay. It's like a toss-up between Hocus Pocus and Practical Magic. I think probably Hocus Pocus because it's just a classic.
Okay, those are my two also, but Practical Magic is my all-time favorite. It just like...
What is it they say at the end? Fall in love whenever you can. Something about rosemary and salt.
Yeah. I just think it's so cute when they're all on the roof at the end, just getting ready to fly.
Know.
And plus,
I know.
like Nicole Kidman, she's beautiful.
She never ages either.
No, but she's especially beautiful in that movie. I just love that one.
Yeah. Special honorable mention to Coraline. I love Coraline.
You know that's one of my favorite movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like the same person.
I know.
Except for pumpkin spice. I can't meet you there. Sorry.
That's okay. I mean, it can be a give and take. But no, Coraline is, well, it's Neil Gaiman, who is one of my...
That's right.
Yes, he's my favorite
That's
author.
the book I bought you. Well, not Coraline, but from him.
Yeah, Ocean at the End of the Lane. That's the book you bought me. But no, Neil Gaiman is my favorite author. My favorite book of all time is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. And it's just a wonderful, magical read. And I try and read it once a year, once every 2 years, sometimes just because of life. But it just, if you've never read that one, I have it. You can borrow it. Yeah, it's so good. To. Yeah, I'll give that one to you.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
It's on the same tangent, but what is a movie that you watch typically in the fall that has nothing to actually do with fall?
Oh.
If there is one.
Probably Meet Joe Black.
That's so random.
It's one of my favorite movies ever. And I watched it for the first time in fall, so I kind of associate it with that kind of weather.
Yeah.
And now it's one that I watch around that time of year. I just freaking love that movie. It's so good.
I need to watch it then. Mine is the Harry Potter series, and I know you guys have probably heard me mention this before, but I'm interested to see if anybody else does this. I have like a Harry Potter marathon, and we sit down and watch all of them in one sitting every year, sometime between like September and November, and it's just the best. And this October, I get to go to Harry Potter World, and I am so stoked because it's my first time ever.
Is that one of your work trips?
Yes. So they're treating all of our members. I'm not a member. I'm just an employee. But all of the members get to go. They're renting out the entire park, which is like 200 oddish people. And we get to go and ride all the rides. It's going to be fully functioning, fully staffed.
Oh
and because
God.
I work for them, I get to go.
That's so cool. I've been there, and I went in the summertime where it was just butt hot and miserable. But it's amazing. You're going to love it.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I can't wait to have butterbeer, and I'm like already going to get like a little Slytherin schoolgirl outfit. Not to be sexy, but you know, just like to look to the
play
part
it up
or whatever.
Yeah. Well, they have like entire stores dedicated to all the houses, so you can just go nuts. And you can like, I don't remember exactly how it works because I didn't do it, but you can buy a wand and then you can make it work throughout the park somehow.
As like a key or something?
Yeah, but like you can play it somehow where it'll like make certain things move or
oh my God,
activate something. Cool. I don't know. Obviously I didn't do it, but I would recommend that and the butterbeer. You can have actual butterbeer.
I'm so excited.
So, okay. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you actually believe that Bigfoot exists? Kayla? Do you?
It's a real tough one for me.
Is it?
Because I feel like we would have had more legitimate sightings. Like, there's TikTok videos with like audio clips and stuff, but we've never actually gotten real footage. And like, we've gotten footage of shadow people and ghosts and stuff like that. Why don't we have anything of Bigfoot?
They're really good at hide and seek. They're the world champions. No, that's fine. Yeah, no.
Look, I believe in him for you.
Okay.
But he's not a fairy. It's not like if you don't believe that they don't exist.
Well, you know where I stand there.
I know. You would date him if you could. You'd have his Bigfoot babies.
I mean, I don't know about that. I feel like that verges on bestiality, and I don't think I could go there. But I do love him in a platonic way.
Okay. This conversation took a turn.
All right. Favorite fall scent?
Like natural or candle?
Whatever.
Probably like a toss-up between spiced apple cider and a bonfire.
I like bonfire in theory, but
It's the after effects sucks. You come in and you smell like it for 3 days until you shower.
and your eyes are all burny and watery.
Yeah.
And yeah, in theory, from a distance, bonfire smells really nice. And I do enjoy
I'm talking like you step outside, the air is crisp, and you
Yeah.
have like that faint scent of bonfire from somewhere 3 houses down. Like,
yeah.
that's my jam.
I still enjoy bonfires. I can't deny that. But yeah, I like the smell of burning leaves from a distance more so than bonfires. I think it just brings me back to like Midwest fall. Fall was
I say that like I know I've never been in the Midwest.
yeah,
but
fall
yeah.
was better in the Midwest. I don't know why. I think it's because it was colder. And
I mean, that's a big good thing about being in the Midwest.
yeah, it was
I hate fall in Georgia.
because it doesn't get cold until almost winter here. And the cold
Yeah, it's
that
like
I
November.
Right. And the cold that I associate with fall is that time of year. Like right now is fall up in the Midwest. And so like the fun activities feel like they can start earlier because you're not sweating your ass off.
Right. In a perfect world, it would just be like fall and spring year round. Like 60 degrees. I could wear my hoodie if I wanted.
Yeah.
Which I probably would because I'm fluffy and I love hoodies.
Who doesn't love hoodies?
Right?
Anyway, yeah, transition seasons are where it's at. So
Yes.
I don't like the extreme seasons. They can suck it.
Summer's awful here.
Okay. But my favorite fall scent is probably the Yankee Candle that's pumpkin apple.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Oh, God.
I smell that one so much, I just can't handle it anymore. And it's because my mom, she loves things that smell like food. So she always buys candles with like that rendition of a scent. And it's just, that's the only thing she ever burned. And I'm just kind of like, ugh. But
I get it. What is your perfect fall date?
April 25th, not too no.
September 27th.
Like going out on a date, just to clarify. Or like, I'm confused now.
Like, if you're going to go out with your significant other in the fall,
Okay.
what would be the ideal, like, things that you would plan?
Gotcha. Okay. Without kids, probably go to a haunted house. I used to love doing that when I was younger. If it's with kids, I think a pumpkin patch is always a solid choice.
For sure. For sure. Pumpkin patch, definitely with kids. I agree with that. Apple orchard with kids, too, because it is fun to, like...
Oh, my God. Yeah. It's so much fun.
I mean, I don't know. Solo. What is solo?
What is dating?
What is dating?
What is this weird thing that we've barely heard of in a decade?
I don't know. I think I would say like a fall hike would be nice. Not too strenuous, but like to go to some pretty scenery would be fun. Spending time outside. A scary movie. Oh, that would be my like ideal date. Like good food, maybe outside with the chilly fall weather and cute fall clothes. A scary movie and maybe like drinks and music outside. That would be my perfect fall date.
I didn't get that far. I just said haunted house.
Oh, sorry. Do you have more?
No, I wasn't thinking it through. I mean, I guess, yeah, that'd be fun. I think probably go out for drinks after the haunted house so that you could like chill out.
Right.
Would be nice. I always like sitting out on the patio under like the little heaters. It feels so nice.
Yeah. What song reminds you of fall?
I mean, besides the obvious, this is Halloween, this is Halloween.
Halloween.
I don't know that I've ever made a fall playlist. I'm the girl who has the Christmas playlists. Probably something from Twilight because that movie just reminds me of fall. So like the one where they're sitting in the chair and it's like da 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 da. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
In Twilight?
Yes, she sits in the chair and it's like spinning around. That may not even be the right song for that scene. But anyway, she's like spinning around or she's not spinning around. The camera's spinning around and it's like fall and it goes by and then it's like winter and it goes. It's just like a creative way to explain that time is passing slowly. Okay. But the song just sticks with you and it felt like fall.
Twilight just didn't stick in my head well.
Did you even watch them?
Yeah, I read them and I watched them. That was like, I mean, I feel like everybody did way back in the day, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember even...
you tell me yours and I'll pull mine up and play it.
Well, so I made fall playlists every year since I was in high school. Like,
of course you did.
I made fall playlist volumes. And so I have quite a few songs that remind me of fall, but I would say into my adult life, it's more folk, like indie folk music that reminds me of fall just as a genre. I don't know if I have like a specific song, but like that whole genre reminds me of this time of year.
Bella's Depression is what it's titled on YouTube.
Depression?
Yes, she was super, super depressed because Edward had left her in the woods. And so she goes and sits in front of her window and has a main character moment where she's just like, oh, woe is me. I'm so sad. And then... Same note for like ever. Oh my God.
Love it. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Twilight songs.
Okay.
Remind me of fall.
Yeah. All right. So, I think that kind of wraps. Do you have any other questions? Anything else you want to discuss?
No, I think I'm good. I feel like we took away the spooky vibes.
There's more
But that's
fall
good.
vibes.
I know. They won't need their chamomile tea or their melatonin gummies anymore. You can fall asleep with the nice thought of cool fall weather, bonfire in the air.
And Twilight. Well, we love you guys. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for sending in your stories. Keep them coming. These are, again, some of our favorite episodes. So we love you. Good luck sleeping.
Good luck sleeping.